यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनातीर वनचारी जमुनातीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन 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 जमुनातीर वनचारी जमुनातीर वनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajagacharya Stol Rata Shishimad Shila Bhai Chanran Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Shila Thakur Haridas Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Rani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Samstapaka Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanande. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Let's begin with Mangalacharana. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In Bhagavad-Gita there are 4 very, very important verses. They're known as the Chatushloki Bhagavad-Gita. If we comprise all of the teachings of the Bhagavad-Gita into 4 shlokas, they can be found in the 10th chapter. Text 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are called the 4 shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. And the acharyas who have commented on these verses are in agreement that this constitutes the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapters 9 and 10 comprise the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Everything else is category, but this is the real substance. Chapter 9 deals with which topic? Most confidential knowledge. Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam. And chapter 10 deals with Vibhuti Yoga. So, I'm going to begin actually with, although the Chatushloki Gita begins with text number 8 of chapter 10, I'm actually going to begin with text number 7 because it's a nice introduction. Krishna tells Arjuna in that verse, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra sangshayaha. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. Let's repeat this. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. Srila Prabhupada comments, the highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the opulences of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. This factual knowledge can be known from the descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita and similar literatures. So raise your hand if you factually understand everything about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or if you're engaged in unalloyed, pure devotional service. Just raise your hand if this applies to you. That's what I thought. Not so many of us. So here's the problem. We actually don't believe these things. We hear them, we theoretically accept them, but we cannot apply them because we really don't believe them. And this is the idea. So adau shraddha tatha sadhu sangat bhajana kriya. Rupa Goswami is described for us in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In the beginning, we have to take whatever faith we have, and all of us have some faith, and we invest. Where do we invest that faith? Sachs Goldman? What do? We take our faith and we invest our faith. Investment means there's going to be some return. You invest that faith in sadhu sangha. And what is the characteristic of that investment? When you invest your faith in associating with devotees, what is the natural result of that? Bhajana kriya. You're going to be engaged in devotional service because that's what sadhus do. They engage you. And what happens when we engage in devotional service? Anartha nivritti syat. There should be a gradual purging of all the misconceptions, bad habits, sinful reactions, doubts, illusions, bodily misconception of life that's followed us around in the form of samskars for how many lifetimes we can only guess. This is all called an anartha. Anartha. Why anartha? Artha? Swartha. What does swartha mean? Yeah, swarthi is considered to be, we say if somebody's a selfish person. But actually, if you engage in the service of yourself, you're actually a very intelligent person. The problem is that nobody knows who the self is. We think that the self is this temporary material body or mind or some combination of the two. So this is our problem. Therefore, we don't know Krishna tattvataha. How many times in Bhagavad-Gita have we read this phrase? Veti tattvataha. Anybody know another verse? There's so many of them. Janma karnama chaname divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. Same exact words. He always qualifies it. Yes, you have to know me, but how do you have to know me? Tattvataha. You have to really know me. In fact. And what constitutes really knowing? Yaswanubhavam akila shruti saramekam. You have to experience these things. So because we don't have experience, we don't really believe these things very deeply. We believe them, but not so deeply. It's shallow. What is the effect of sadhu sangha? We get faith. Or someone else's faith influences us. Whether we get it or not, we see. This person is acting on a deeper level of faith than I am. Sajati ashraya snigdha means this person has to be very similar to you. Otherwise you can't relate. If a person is completely different than you, there's no frame of reference, you can't begin to relate. So if someone is similar to you, but his faith is deeper than yours, that is the correct combination for sadhu sangha to be fruitful, for it to serve your real purpose, swartha. Nate vidu swartha gatim he Vishnum. People in general don't realize that one's actual self-interest is Vishnu's interest. So all these things are implied only in this phrase, yo veti tattvataha. And Krishna is confident here to say that there is no doubt that if someone actually understands me factually, then he engages himself in what kind of devotional service? Unalloyed. What does unalloyed mean? Without any mixture. Yeah, how many people are using 24 karat gold? Nobody. Because it will fall apart, you know. 22 karat gold, yes, Indians know this. In America, everything is less than 50% gold. They call it gold. And you can actually get even less than, this is called alloy. Alloy. It's mixed. It's mixed. So, pure devotional service means there's no alloy. It is only devotional service. So, if it is only devotional service, then what is not there? What is not there is selfish desires for fruitive activity. Selfish in the sense from the ego perspective. Faith that is invested in asat sangha. Faith that is invested in the conception of life that I am this body or mind, or both. That's called karma. And it generates reactions that we have to suffer or enjoy in the future. And then what happens when we suffer and enjoy those reactions? When we enjoy those reactions, we become more deeply entangled in the same, we become encouraged in the same process. And thereby we become more deeply entangled in the same process. It's like a vortex. We get sucked into it deeper and deeper when we enjoy. What happens when we suffer? Then we want to escape. And the desire to escape, the reactions for things that we've brought upon ourselves, what is that called? Moksha, moksha kama, or jnana. Ultimately, jnana means desire for liberation. The more jnana you have, the less you suffer. This is a fact. People always, nowadays, they say, the key to helping people is education. There's truth in that. It is true. In a sense, it's true. So there was once a physicist, I remember, this was way back in the 1980s. His name was George Wald. Anyone ever heard of George Wald? Nobel laureate. He won a Nobel Prize. Raise your hand if you've won a Nobel Prize. Anyone here? No Nobel Prize winners here? Okay. He was a Nobel Prize winner. Nuclear physicist. And he was chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You know why? Because he told me, he used to come to our restaurant in Austin, Texas. He said, I came to a point where I realized that it's a dead end. This empiric process that I have supposedly perfected, you can't really get much better than a Nobel Prize in nuclear physics if you're a scientist. And he said, I realized that there's something beyond this. I don't know what it is, but I'm chanting this mantra because you have to take that step at some point. Leap of faith, as they say. Anyway, I don't want to get too far afield with this, but the point is that if we have some faith in Krishna and we invest this faith in the association of those whose faith is deeper than ours. This is satsanga, when the faith is deeper. Association with devotees doesn't mean that you make some pakoras and you call your friends over and you watch the cricket match on television. That's not association. Not, at least it's not satsanga. Maybe it's some kind of sangha, but it's not really satsanga. So, yo veti tattvata means this only. We have to be completely convinced. And when we are convinced, this is the point, we're talking about pure devotional service, then we engage in unalloyed devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavratam. Rupa Goswami, this is his definition of pure devotional service. It is not mixed with karma, and it is not mixed with jnana. If we analyze ourselves honestly, we will see so much of what we do is meant to get some fruitive result for ourselves. Or it's meant to escape the fruitive results that we deserve. One or the other. Either we're trying to exploit the Lord's resources, or we're trying to escape the Lord. But this is what we do in this material world. These are the only two things we do in this material world. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says, these are the things we have to purge. And anartha nivritti means these things will all come out when we associate with those whose faith is deeper than ours. All right, so let's begin. That was the interlude. Now we're beginning with text number 8 tonight, the first verse of the Chatushloki. I think many of us know this verse. We can all chant responsively. Aham saravasya prabhavo mattah saravam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Okay, let's hear what Srila Prabhupada has written in his purport. In general, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita as it is, most of his purports are paraphrasing that which is given by his predecessor, Baladev Vidyabhushan. And this purport to this verse is also like that. So Srila Prabhupada writes, a learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya, and who knows how to apply these teachings, can understand that Krishna is the origin of everything in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Apani. Okay. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries. Anyone ever seen any nonsensical commentaries? I have. I read several editions of Bhagavad-Gita as it is before I came to Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita. I mean, not Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Bhagavad-Gita as it isn't. हिंदी में इस भगवद गीता को यथारूप बोलते हैं ना, तो भगवद गीता यथारूप होना चाहिए, अन्यथारूप नहीं. So, frankly speaking, even though I read several editions of Bhagavad Gita before I read this one, I have to admit that I didn't understand them. And the reason that I didn't understand them, if you've heard my lectures before, you know. The reason I didn't understand those Bhagavad Gitas is because the publishers also didn't understand those Bhagavad Gitas. Kyonki Bhagavad Gita yatharup hona chahiye and yatharup nahi. Yatharup ka matlab kya hai? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata ityadi. Krishna ne kaha चौथा अध्याय में कि this thing is coming in Guru Parampara, and who understands it? Bikers? Barbers? Scholars? What does Krishna say about it? Housewives? Barbers? What does Krishna say? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshiyo vidahu. Who understood it? Rajarshis. Not only kings. To be a king, you have to be pretty intelligent, because there's always people trying to fight you and get rid of you, and you've got to be pretty sharp to be a king. And therefore Krishna says not only kings, but what kind of kings? Rajarishi. You've got to be also very pure. In this world, it's very rare to find a combination of great competence and great purity in the same person. There are many people who are very good people, nicely motivated people, sincere, as we say, terribly sincere, but they're not confident. And that doesn't work so well for the rest of us, because we can't take advantage. And there are many people who are very competent in this world. Many people who are very competent, but they're not very pure. They're not very sincere. And we suffer from them as well, probably even more so. So Rajarishi means he has to be very competent, he has to be an intelligent king, has to have some force, bal, and he's also got to be very well motivated. Saintly, intelligent. I mean really intelligent, because really intelligent means, well, as the Mundaka Upanishad says, Parikshya lokan karmichitan brahmano nirvedam ayan nastya krita kritena. He looks through everything that life has to offer and considers, especially when we're young we do this, isn't it? When we're in school or entering school, we have to think, where am I going to go? Which direction? You can only do one thing. You choose a trajectory, you follow it through to the end. So this is what a wise man does. He considers all possible avenues of life, and then he thinks, wait a minute, there's nothing here that's not the result of karma. So what is the use of adding karma to karma? What is the use of subtracting karma from karma? You cannot get that uncreated realm through created things. This is the idea. Akrita kritena. If you want to understand something that's beyond the relativities of material existence, that's a different process. Does anybody know how the verse concludes? Tad vijnanartham saguru meva bigachet samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. For that thing you have to go to the guru. And how do you go to the guru? Samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. You have to have firewood in hand. What does that mean? Firewood in hand means you have to be ready. Sir, do you require some firewood? Let me do it for you. Menial service. Who's ready to do this? This is how we learn. So, we may find that someone is competent, he's very expert in following his dream, as they way, or if you work in, what is that company? Infosys, I think. What's your aspiration? Anybody here work for Infosys? I don't think so. In India, they're more common. They want to know everyone's aspiration. If people know your aspiration, then they know how to exploit you, isn't it? Something to think about. Anyway, that's another topic. But people are very competent, or people are very saintly, but to find a person who's both saintly and competent, this is the person who can understand Bhagavad-Gita. This is the person. Srila Prabhupada was like that. Tamal Krishna Goswami I knew personally for 30 years. He was also very much like this. Very competent, but very purely motivated. How do you get that way? Only through association. Kyon sangat sanjayate kama. Your desire is dictated by the association that you keep. Therefore, to seek satsanga, sadhu sangha, means to seek persons like ourselves, but whose faith is deeper than ours. Then we can see that I could go there. I can see this, that it makes sense. You can see that yourself doing what he's doing. This association is wanted. So Krishna says, by some process or another, when we actually believe, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, I'm the source of everything. What does Krishna mean when he says, I'm the source of everything? Ramanujacharya says about this, Vichitra chirachit prapanchakasya prabhava utpatti karanam. He is the source of everything that is mundane, of everything that is spiritual, in all of its great variety. He's the source of all that stuff. This is his idea. Or as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Tatra Maheshwaryam Lakshanam Vibhutimaha. In this verse he talks about his glory, his manifestation, the symptoms of his great power. Aham sarvasya means prakata aprakata vastu matrasya prabhavaha. The source of all things, both spiritual and mundane. Utpati pradurbhavayoho hetu. The cause of all of those things. Everything comes from me. Do you want something spiritual? Or do you want something material? Or do you want both at the same time? There's only three options. You can be purely spiritual, you can be purely materialistic, or you can be a little bit of a mix. Most of us are somewhere in the third category. But in either case, what are you looking for? Where does it come from? It only comes from Krishna. This is the point. Krishna wants to drive home to us. Matta sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from me. And he develops this point. Ramanujacharya again, he says, Sarvam matta eva pravartate iti idam mama swabhavikam nirankushaishwaryam. He has unrestricted, innate potency that is of what nature? So shilya saundarya vatsalyadi kalyana guna yogam cha. It is naturally joined, unrestrictedly joined, with a whole host of auspicious qualities such as his love for his devotees, his bhakta vatsalya, and his extreme beauty, and his super excellent character. These are Krishna's wonderful qualifications. And he says, Matva, when we understand that, who understands that? Buddha. Buddha. What does Buddha mean? It's the smart people. And he translates that as Gyaninas, the Gyanis. Bhava samanvitaha mam sakala kalyana gunanvitam bhajante. They worship me. This is, you can say, if you take it as an adjective, sakala kalyana gunanvitam means Krishna, who is imbued with all auspicious qualities. Or if you take it as an adverb, then you can say the devotees, they worship Krishna with all of their auspicious qualities. Either way it works. Bhava, manovritti vishesha, Ramanujacharya says. Because we're talking about bhava samanvita, to be imbued with bhava. So Ramanujacharya says everybody has a particular mental disposition, yeah, you can say. So that's not something that you can escape from. That thing has to be offered to Krishna because that thing is already dear to Krishna. We are created with a particular bhava. We embody this bhava. It's what we eternally are, as a matter of fact. But because we're determined, we're determinedly trying to erase that bhava and pretend that we're something other than that bhava. And therefore, what happens to that bhava? It becomes polluted. So you can efface it, but you cannot erase it. Better thing is to engage it. You offer whatever it is that you... What is that famous verse everybody sings? Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmana va prakatesva bhavat yad yat karomi sakalam parasmai narayanayiti samarapayami. Whatever it is that you have at your disposal, you offer that to Bhagavan and engage in his service with that thing. So this is Ramanujacharya. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, on the other hand, Matta eva antaryami surupat sarva jagat pravartate. Everything in this whole universe, it is coming from Antaryami Swarup. Who is this Antaryami Swarup? Where do the universes come from? Where do all the universes come from? Mahavishnu. How do they come from Mahavishnu? They emanate from his pores. Where does Mahavishnu come from? He comes from Sankarshana. Three Vishnus. Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, that is Antaryami. And Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu. They're all coming from Sankarshan, and Sankarshan comes from Balaram, and Balaram comes from... Therefore, Antaryami Surup means Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. This is an indirect admission on the part of Ramanujacharya that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Ete changsha kalaha pungsam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All these other forms, they are expansions or plenary expansions of the expansions of Bhagavan. But actually, Swayam Bhagavan himself, that is Krishna. So, Tata matta eva nararad dyavataratmakatvat sarvam bhakti gyata tapak karnamadikam sadhanam tat sadhyam cha pravrittim bhavati. Everything comes from him, means that whatever we know about our goal in life, what is the goal in life of a devotee? Krishna. Sadhya. What we're aspiring for. Love of Godhead. Sadhya. The thing that is the goal of our sadhana. And the sadhana itself is also coming from Krishna. How so? Where are we getting our bhakti sadhanas from? Who wrote the Narad Bhakti Sutra? Narad Muni. All the hearing and chanting and everything that we do is coming from great sages such as Narad Muni. So he's mentioning this. They're also expansions, directly or indirectly, of Krishna. This is the idea. Ekantika bhakti lakshanam yogam aha. He's speaking about pure devotional service. Itimatva, when we understand that, means astikyato jnanena nishchayam. When we become doubtless, and doubtless through knowledge that is of the nature of, that proceeds from faith. Astikya. Astikya means religious disposition. When we become convinced in that way, then he says, bhava samanvita bhajante mam. So how does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explain bhava? Does anybody remember what Ramanujacharya said about bhava? Manovritti vishesha. A particular mindset, okay? General description. What does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur say? He takes it a step further. He says, dasya sakhyadis tad yuktaha. It is imbued, it is a particular mental disposition, means it is imbued with some particular devotional sentiment that we've already described. You have this within you. It is what you are. It is your essence, and you cannot hide it. You can only try to efface it, as we said, discolor it, pervert it somehow. Everybody has some relationship with Krishna already. This thing you simply have to very carefully cultivate through following the process of bhakti yoga. And you'll get dasya bhav, or you'll get sakhya bhav, or you'll get vatsalya bhava, or even madhurya bhava. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. So let's continue Srila Prabhupada's purport. He says, All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopaltapini Upanishad, it is said, Yo Brahmanam vidadhati purvam, yo vai vedam shagapayati sma Krishna. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge, and who disseminated the Vedic knowledge in the past. Here again, we see Krishna is mentioned by name. This is from Gopaltapani Upanishad. He's not mentioning Narayana. He's not mentioning Vasudeva or any other generic names. He's mentioning Krishna. Then again in the Narayana Upanishad, Atha Purusho ha vai Narayano kamayata prajah shijayete. The Supreme Personality Narayan desired to create living entities. Actually, Srila Prabhupada's purport is just going through 4 or 5 different Shruti mantras, not Smriti references. These are Shruti mantras. Everyone has to accept them because they're coming from the 4 Vedas. Narayanat Brahma Jayate, Narayanat Prajapatihi Prajayate, Narayanat Indro Jayate, Narayanat Ashto Vasavo Jayante, Narayanat Ekadash Rudra Jayante, Narayanat Dvarashadityaha. In case you haven't guessed, all these are coming from Narayana. Who? Brahma, Lord Indra, the 8 Vasus, the 11 Rudras, the 12 Adityas. This is the idea. And Prabhupada says this Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. And stated in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putraha, the son of Devaki, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's also from Narayana Upanishad. It's interesting, isn't it? We keep getting this explicit Shruti references showing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this verse in particular mentions, what do we mean by Krishna? Because as one nonsensical commentator, as Prabhupada mentioned in the beginning of his purport, he wrote that Krishna means black and black means unknown, therefore Krishna means the dark unknown. One commentator actually said that. I won't mention his name, but he was a famous South Indian politician, for those of you who are guessing. So, here we see that the Shruti mantra is being much more explicit than our political friends. Krishna means Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Eko vai Narayana asin na brahmane shano na apo na agni somao neme dyawa prativi na nakshatrani na suryaha. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality, Narayana. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven, no earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. This is from Maha Upanishad. He's also said therein that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma, that's Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatim charudram chapyaham eva srijami ve. Tau himam navijanito mama maya vimohita. The patriarchs, Shiva, and others created by me, they are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusory energy. Varaha Purana also says, Narayana paro devas tasmad jatas chaturmukha tasmad rudro bhavad devaha sacha sarva jnatam gataha. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. So, in this last paragraph, Prabhupada explains the conclusion. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. Matta sarvam pravartate. Anybody know another verse in which Krishna says this? He uses the word matta as well. Yes, matta parataram nanya. There's nothing higher than me. Same exact thing. So you can see here, if you understand, if you have read enough Shastra, then in any sentence, any one sentence, anywhere in Srila Prabhupada's books, you can understand. He's not just saying these things off the top of his head. He's not just saying these things as a question of sectarian party policy. These things are all to be found in Shastra. Guru sadhu Shastra vakya chitete korya aikya. This is the principle. Whatever the Guru, the Sadhu, and the Shastra says, that thing only we can repeat, and nothing more and nothing less than that. And here we see, Prabhupada is demonstrating, for those who have the eyes to see, for those whose eyes are trained in knowledge, to be able to see, Srila Prabhupada is simply repeating what is already there. So, one who understands Krishna in such a way, from a bona fide spiritual master, with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. This is such an important sentence, it bears repeating one more time. Let's listen carefully. One who understands Krishna in such a way. In what way? What does such mean? Okay. From a bona fide spiritual master, with references from Vedic literature, because you can't have a bona fide spiritual master unless he's saying unless he's backing up what he says with reference to Vedic literature. Therefore, a bona fide spiritual master, by definition, is one that backs up what he says with references to Vedic literatures. And we find this again and again and again throughout Srila Prabhupada's books, as demonstrated in this very purport, in which we're hearing Shruti mantra after Shruti mantra after Shruti mantra to back up this assertion. Very strong, bold assertion. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If somebody really believes this and engages himself in devotional service, then that person is bona fide spiritual master. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna-conscious person should not be bewildered by fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations of Bhagavad-Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Actually, this is the problem with Hinduism. Hindus have lost sight of a very important aspect of darshan, which is called pramana. That's a provocative statement. A few years ago, I was in Kanyakumari district, and we did a small program in one Amman temple there. You know about this? So, you know, because it's rural India, you can broadcast whatever you do on loudspeakers, and there's no lawsuit. In America, of course, it's out of the question. Actually, the village that we were in was called Satangulam, east side of Tamil Nadu. And it's mostly Christians are there. They call Shaitangulam. So in the beginning, there were maybe 30 or 40 curious villagers. They heard something over the loudspeaker. They came to see what's going on, because they could understand somebody was speaking in English and then it was being translated into Tamil. I'm sorry, I don't speak Tamil. But by the end of the program, the crowd had swelled to some 300 or 400 people. And they were completely tuned in, because they'd never heard anything like what we were saying. And we were only speaking from books that we got from their ancestors, like Brahma Samhita. Tiruvataru is only a few miles away from this place. And that is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got the Brahma Samhita, which teaches all these principles. Ishwaraha paramaha krishnaha satchit ananda vigraha anadiradir govinda sarva karana karanam. Very essential verse. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has no origin other than himself. He's the cause of all causes. He has a Satchit Ananda Vigraha. these things. So they were listening to this and they were just stunned. And one man came up and said, you know, we're Hindus. We want to be Hindus, but nobody's ever told us what it means to be a Hindu. All as far as we know, Hindu means we come to the koil and we eat pongal and we go home. And that therefore when the Christians come, or when the multinationals come, or when the communists come and they have their quotes ready and they're rapid firing at they don't know what to do because they've lost sight of pramana. It's so important thing. This can happen here. Maybe it already has. That you have to question. But the point is that the reason that our acharyas, they're quoting in this way, is to teach by example. Because example is better than precept. Why is it that in every single page of Srila Prabhupada's books we find the same verses quoted in full? Dehinosmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara ityadi. Why does he do this? Because how else do we know what is the most important verse? How else do we know what are the really essential principles? This thing is coming in param evam parampara praptam. This Shastra Siddhanta is necessarily coming through the examples of our predecessor acharyas. And a sensitive person has to learn from that as well. And when we do learn from that, and when we become convinced ourselves, then we can begin to assimilate the importance, or we can begin to appreciate the importance of this verse and begin to assimilate something of what is being described here in this first verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavad-Gita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that the Vedas are teaching three things. What are those three things? Sambandha, abhidheya, prayojana. Sambandha means sambandha gyan, understanding what is our relationship. What relationship? It means our relationship not only with Bhagavan, but our relationship with Bhagavan's energy, and our relationship with all of Bhagavan's property, including other living beings. All relationships. That has to become very clear. Now in Bhagavad-Gita, as Prabhupada concludes in his purport, he talks about unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad-Gita. There are many, 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 many ways to interpret Bhagavad-Gita. But everyone agrees. At the end of this Bhagavad-Gita, what is Arjuna going to do? Is he going to sit down and smoke ganja and watch Krishna fight everyone? Well, what is Arjuna going to do? Huh? Loud, please. Yeah, he's going to fight. Because Krishna is asking him. This is what Krishna is asking him to do. So it's on two levels. He's doing what Krishna wants to do. That is bhakti level. And he's fighting because that is also what Krishna wants, but that is his own swadharma. You see? All of us are living in two worlds at once. We have one foot in the swadharma world and we have one foot in the spiritual world, and they have to both be aligned with what Krishna wants. This is Bhagavad-Gita. When Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajyamamekam sharanam vraja ityadi, he means only this. You do what I want, because what I want is right. Only Krishna can say that. So, many, many ways to understand Bhagavad Gita, but there's only one practical conclusion. Sometimes we say this about Hinduism. It's very often said. Hinduism offers you infinite choices about what to believe and no choices about what to do. So, how do we deal with this? That is called pramana. You have to understand, how do we know what we know? Why do we do what we do? How do we know what we know? This is pramana, and the reason Hinduism is so messed up, of all the world religions, it seems that Hindus are even the worst in some ways. Sick, I mean. Struggling. And being conquered left, right, and center. Because of this only. And this is actually the domain It's the responsibility, the zimmedari of the Brahmanas. And Brahmanas have to do this. They're not meant for studying C++ only. There's a wasted life. Any fool can learn technology and make some money and then die, and teach his kids how to do the same stupid thing on the way out. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ne kaha ki Bharata bhumete hoilo manushya janma jar janma shartha kori koro parupakar. Everybody in Bharat Bhumi who has taken their birth here, Mahaprabhu said, they have to do two things. First thing is, assimilate this. Get it straight. Get it deep. Act on this. Janma sartha kari, he says. A lot in 3 words. Janma sartha kari. Just make your life perfect by assimilating these teachings. Tab karo parupakar. Then you can do something for others. Then you can do something for others, because you cannot do anything for anyone else. You cannot give what you don't have. You can only give what you really have. Janma sartha kari karo parupakar. Srila Prabhupada used to have a pen. They'd make these nice office pens, classy, designer pens. Parker pen. You know about this? So Prabhupada had this pen. And he was looking at his pen one day, and he showed it to one man came to visit him. He said, see, this is our mission. Parkar. 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 You have to carry someone across. He said, this pen is meant for that purpose. And it's true. While we all slept, or before we were born yet, depending on how old you are, Srila Prabhupada worked hard. He stayed up all night just to write these books so that we would have something to talk about in 2018 in Sammamish, Washington. So take advantage of it. Do not neglect Bhagavad-Gita as it is. Bhagavad-Gita as it is means just leave it on the shelf as it is, shrink-wrapped. Don't you dare open it. Just leave it as it is. No. No, we have to appreciate. What does Krishna say at the end of Bhagavad-Gita? What does he declare to Arjuna? The one who reads this Bhagavad-Gita seriously worships me by his intelligence. This is what is meant by Janma Sartha Kari. When we do that, then Parupakar. And every one of you is meant for this purpose. You've received this. Ramanujacharya and all the other acharyas following him, he says, Bhavo jnana tapasa puta. When Krishna tells Arjuna that many, many people in the past have become purified by this knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me. Same topic. Puta madbhavam agataha. This is the same topic. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. Bhajante mam. So what does he say? Why is knowledge and austerity? Who can tell me? What is austere about knowledge? Why does Ramanuja say this? Why does Krishna say this? Bhavo jnana tapasa puta. Why is jnana and austerity? 2 reasons, he says. Number 1, you have to take the book, you have to exert enough energy to undo the shrink wrapping and open it up and actually read something. That's austere, because there are so many other demands on our time. We know this, especially in the 21st century. So it's a little bit of an austerity. It's a small austerity to read these books. But once you read these books, then the austerity really begins. Because you have to do something now. You've understood the message. You've understood your karya. Now what are you going to do? What does Krishna tell Arjuna in the Bhagavad-Gita? Arjuna, I've explained everything to you now. Yatechasi tatha kuru. Now you have a choice to make. It's like my godbrother said, it's like an elevator. I'm going to end now because it's getting late. If you take an elevator and the elevator door opens, you have to make a choice, don't you? You can stay in the elevator. You don't have to step outside of the elevator. But this human form of life is like that. The door is not going to stay open forever. You can't dilly-dally around forever. Nalini gata Nalini gata? Yeah, Nalini dalagata. Jalamati taralam tadvat jivendam atishaya chapalam. This human form of life is a short window of opportunity, but it is as tenuous as a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Any minute that thing can be gone. Zut. It's like that. In Dallas, Texas, many years ago, this was a shock to me when I was young. There was a gentleman from Gujarat. He had come to America to make money, and he did. And he was sitting in his den watching television one night, maybe 9 or 10 at night. So then he went to open the door. He didn't have one of those holes that you look to see who's there yet. So he opened the door, and the last thing he saw was somebody pointed a gun right at his face and blew him to smithereens. Just dead like that. Probably never realized what hit him. They walked over him, tied up everyone in the house, robbed everything they wanted. Fortunately, that's all they did. They could have done much worse if you think about it. But he was out. He was out. What happens when your time has come? Do you know when your time is coming? But what happens when your time has come? Tanani bhumao pashavascha goshthe nari grihadvare janaha smashane. Right? Your money's going to stay in the bank, your car is going to stay in your garage. Your wife will stay at home, your friends will come to your funeral. Dehaschitayam, your body will go as far as the chitta. Paraloka marge gachanu karmanu go gachati jiva eka. Akhira akela jana. Your body will burn up on then everything is gone. Where are you going? You're going on alone, my friend. You're going on all by yourself. Nobody's going to hold your hand. Nobody's going to pull you back the other way. No choices anymore at that point. It's all your trajectory has been set by your life's activities, and that's where you're going. And you don't know when. Maybe it will be tonight. Maybe it will be in 50 years. No guarantees. Life isn't fair. And you know what? Krishna's behind this. Because aham sarvasya prabhavo. He's admitting it right here. It's all coming from him. You cannot win. Sometimes they say, there was Dante's Inferno. He said, I would rather, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven. This is our mentality. So this is what we get. As long as we have that stubbornness within us, this is what we get. You have to deal with this. So, Krishna is trying to suggest, indirectly here, that when we understand what's really happening here in this world, and when we understand that actually he is the source of everything, what it means for him to be the source of everything, what everything is to begin with, as Prabhupada has explained to some degree in his purport, then we get some inspiration that maybe I should just take this seriously. But usually we don't learn by hearing because it's Kali Yuga. And as my brother used to say, before cancer got him, some of us are not the brightest bulb on the chandelier. So manda sumanda matya mandya bhagya hyupadrutaha. We don't learn really from hearing. We learn when we get slapped hard. And that's why this material world is designed that way. Because that's what makes us think about these things. If we've tasted it already, then we're listening attentively and we're identifying. If we've not tasted it yet, then at least the intelligence, there's something there that maybe will come and rescue us when we need it. But it will come. It's just padam padam yad vipadam natesham. You don't know what the test is next. You don't know even when the test is, but it's going to come. The nature of this world is that way. So instead, if we can cultivate this knowledge and become absorbed, brahmashotriyam, brahmanishtam, then we can take devotional service a little bit seriously. I'm going to stop here, but if anybody has any questions or any comments, I know we've taken some time so far. We maybe have a few minutes for any questions. Yes, sir. नहीं तो जोर से बोलो. I didn't say the religion is messed up. I said the Hindus are messed up. Pramana.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not able to understand this.
Okay, pramana. What is pramana? In Latin, Western philosophy, we have a big Latin word for this. Epistemology. What does it mean? It's a fancy way to say, how do you know anything? Philosophy has 4 concerns, mainly. 1, what is truth? What is right? What is beautiful? And how do we know? You see? So how do you know what you know? This is called pramana. How do you learn anything? How do you know? We have 4 pramanas. We have what our senses tell us, what we hear, what we taste, feel, see, smell, etc. That's called pratyaksha. Pratyaksha. Sense perception. But sense perception can be deceiving, because if you look at the moon right now, it looks to be smaller than a dime. Is the moon smaller than a dime? Raise your hand if you believe that the moon is smaller than a dime. No, we know that the moon is much bigger, but to the senses it seems that small. So the senses are not right. So that is a praman, but it is a very faulty one. What else do we have? Anuman. Anuman means conjecture. We have some experience, we have some knowledge, and then we speculate based on that. But that's also faulty, because we can be illusioned. What's worse than that, we make mistakes, that's very clear. But we can even, we have to guard against our own motives. Sometimes we ourselves don't have the best of motives. We cheat. We cheat ourselves, and therefore we have to cheat others as well. You see? So Anuman doesn't really work so well either. A better thing is Shabda. Shabda Praman means you hear from bona fide authorities and you accept. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. Just like we're hearing from Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita, and if we have faith and if we accept what Krishna is saying, then we have perfect knowledge immediately, despite our disqualifications. You see? And then a subset of that is called aitiham, means you have to understand what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad-Gita based on what the reliable predecessors have said in the past. Evam parampara praptam, as we were describing. That's called aitiham. It's a subset of pramana. So actually there's only 3 pramanas. Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda. So Shabda is actually the most authoritative. All of them are valuable. None of them should be rejected, but we should understand what is their relative value, what is their relative authority, and what are the shortcomings in each. You see? Ultimately, Shabda is the best thing. Therefore, Vyasadeva himself says in Vedanta Sutra, Shastra Yonitvat. Everything ultimately is coming from Shastra. But how do we understand Shastra? We've already described. Guru Parampara. And what is the use of Guru Parampara or Shastra? Unless you have a living, breathing example in front of you who can give you with whom you can interact. That is called Guru. So Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. This is Pramana. Practically speaking, this is what constitutes Shabda Pramana. And we can gain perfect knowledge from this chain of command, so to speak, or this checks and balances system. Because the Guru can't say anything that is not corroborated in the Shastra. And what the Shastra says has to be manifested practically by a bona fide spiritual master. Parampara has to be there to show that this thing is not just somebody's concoction. All three are interdependent. Iron triangle, you might say. So, this is practically speaking what Shabda Pramana is. And Hindus have lost this. Therefore, a woman, she was cooking in her kitchen one day in Lucknow, about 20 years ago, and she cut open the bengan, and she saw inside the bengan, the seeds of the bengan, they're distributed like Omkar. Tab se bengan Vishnu ka avatar ban gaya. Yeh Hinduism. Praman ke bina, yeh Hinduism hai. You see? This is what you get. Or it gets even worse than that. When we are tamasic, we have faith, but our faith is tamasic, then we feel that it is our highest dharma to go around killing everybody who doesn't agree with us. Fly jetliners into skyscraper buildings and things of this nature. That is tamasic faith, without adequate pramana. Pramana can save you. Pramana is so valuable. This is what we're talking about. Hinduism is missing this. And Christianity has, other religions, they have this idea of Shabda Pramana, but because the shastras that they're using are by nature inferior, therefore they also don't get very far. But with a big difference, because our shastras are actually perfect. And they have detailed knowledge of God. What is his name? Where does he live? What is he like? Who are his friends? What does he do all day long? What are his names? Thousands of them. Sahasranamas. You see, everything is there. But we're more interested in C++, so who can help us? Really, this is a fact. Your friend, Vednarayan, used to be here. He realized, he was working in Microsoft in the heyday 20 years ago. I was here at that time. And he realized, some of his American colleagues would come to him at work and ask him about Hinduism, and he realized, even though he's from a family of priests in the second biggest Skanda temple in Tamil Nadu, Tiruchendur, but he didn't know the answers. And then he realized, I got to shape up. Otherwise, I contribute to the. If you're not solving the problem, then you're contributing to the problem. Now he's, he made enough money, he's comfortable, he's retired in India, and he's preaching Krishna consciousness full time in his native place, with great effect. People now, you can find them, they're chanting Hare Krishna, they're so appreciative. Last time we did a program in Satangulam, the whole mayor came out, everybody came out, they had this Nadaswaram. You know how they do in Tamil Nadu, so. The point is that people appreciate. This is called Janma Sartha Kari Karo Par Upakar. When you assimilate this and you try to repeat what you've heard without changing anything, then it has effect. Otherwise, any number of political Bhagavad-Gitas, they don't do anything for anybody. So many editions of Bhagavad-Gita, they never made one person a devotee. But one edition, this edition, has made hundreds and thousands of people devotees, hundreds of thousands on every continent. How is it? It's Bhagavad Gita mein koi vishesh shakti hogi. Kya shakti? Bhakti ki shakti. Kyonki evam parampara praptam. Bas. Okay, anything else? Is that satisfactory?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Thank you very much for a wonderful class. Prabhu, we talked about Smriti and Shruti. So I would just like to have a little confirmation of my understanding if I'm getting it right. So everything comes from Vedas.
Yes.
And I have also heard that Mahabharata, Puranas and Ramayana, they are all eternal. So, and I have heard that they get repeated, even though change little bit, but the main message stays the same. So then Mahabharata, Puranas, they will be also be Smriti, Shruti.
No, not exactly. Only the four Vedas are Shruti, nothing else. Lekin, within those four Vedas, there are subsections. You have Upanishads, you have Aranyakas, you have Brahmanas. These are sections of those 4 Vedas, but they're not different from the 4 Vedic texts themselves. This is Shruti. And then you have, Smriti means things that are not necessarily the 4 Vedas, but they're entirely grounded in those Vedic literatures and explaining those Vedic literatures. For example, Vyasadeva has written his Brahma Sutra, codified gist of the Upanishads, and then he's written his own commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. Then you have other Puranas that, by way of stories, explain the same teachings. And as you mentioned, the epics are there, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they're doing the same thing. Bhagavad-Gita is 1 chapter out of Mahabharata, like this. So these are Bhakti Rasamrit, Sindhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita, these things are Smritis. Ishopanishad, what does that belong to? Is it Shruti or Smriti? It's Shruti, because all the Upanishads are Shruti. They're all coming from the 4 Vedas. So these 2. Now, Vedas, the Shruti mantras, those are eternal. I mean, they're all eternal, but the Vedas themselves they're called apaurushaya. They're not authored by any human being, neither are they, well, to use the common word, channeled through any human being. They're eternally existing in that particular form. The Shrutis are like that. But they manifest themselves in each and every age. So even though it appears that they come into time, come into existence at a particular time, in fact, they're all eternal. And the same thing you can say of the Smritis as well, but the difference is that the Smritis are Paurushaya. They're authored by sages, acharyas, like this. Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example, as we know, is written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami only some 500 years ago. Firpi, it is Smriti literature because it is shows complete fidelity with the Vedic teachings. Now, you mentioned in each age, they come and they may have a slightly different form in each age. Here in Seattle, what are the chain stores that you have? Supermarkets and things? Huh? You have Safeway? QFC, okay. So in every QFC, you're going to have the same stock, essentially. And it's going to be organized pretty much in the same order. But not every building is the same shape, size, or location. So it will be slightly different, but basically the same. In the same way, when the Lord comes, He performs different pastimes in different ages according to the needs of the time, place, and circumstance. When the Vedas come and manifest themselves in this world, or the Smriti literatures, they also slightly, little bit different in appearance only. The gist is the same, because they have to respond to the needs of the particular group of jivas that are populating a particular time, place, and circumstance, like that. Is that okay? That's why we find throughout the Vedas there are some discrepancies. This Purana describes creation in this way, that Purana describes it in a slightly different way. This Purana has one version of Narasimha's Leela, that Purana has a slightly different version. This is why. Kalpa Bheda, we call this, according to the different time.
So Srimad Bhagavatam will be Shruti or Smriti?
Srimad Bhagavatam is Smriti literature. And so is Bhagavad-Gita. So is Ramayana. So most of the literatures that we look to as our primary references, these are all Smriti literatures. But they're very much authorized. Very much authorized. As I said, Vyasadeva himself is the one who codified the philosophical gist of the Upanishads as his Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is his own commentary on Vedanta Sutra. How in the world could we understand Vedanta Sutra when we don't even understand Srimad Bhagavatam? You see? Jiva Goswami has described this problem, if you will, at great length in his Tattva Sandarbha. Why it is that the Srimad Bhagavatam has such paramount authority in this age of Kali Yuga, and why it is that the Puranas, for that matter, generally have more practical importance for us in terms of understanding absolute truth than do the four Vedas. It's described in this way because we're we're dumb, for lack of a more polite term. We're just not so bright in Kali Yuga, and we require this simplified system. It doesn't detract from the authority of the Vedas in the least. All it does is indicate our own, challenged status. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
All right, anything else? Any other questions? Yes. Yes. Well, not just Hindus. I mean, actually, everybody does this, but it's more noticeable in India, I think, among the Hindus, because, as one poet wrote, lilies that fester smell worse than weeds. You understand? When you have such a high civilization, and they neglect it and lose it, it's kind of like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So it's a little bit. Okay, well, then how much time do you have? Well, as I said, I mean, the easiest answer is that this is Kali Yuga and these things happen. But there's a particular way in which it happened as well, within our recent history and within the memory of our forefathers. You know, actually, I can say this. In the 14th century, Madhvacharya was 14th century, he predicted that if this Advaita, Kevala Advaita Vad, which was taught by Shankaracharya, if it becomes widespread, then people will lose all sense of ethics. People will become so debased and degraded in the name of philosophical conviction. And in fact, that has come to pass. This is why Madhvacharya in particular, he worked very, very hard to combat the misconceptions that were propagated by Shankaracharya. Now, Shankaracharya we have all respect for, and we regard him as an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And in fact, he was only doing the bidding of Lord Vishnu. So that's a confusing matter for many people. But without getting into the explanation for that, what he taught was actually a very spurious misinterpretation of Vedic literatures. But it was an infinitely appealing one, because everyone comes to this world really with the core ideal of becoming God in one way or another. And when you've got a philosophy that tells you that this is what you should be, that encourages you in that aim, that you can only hope for more materialism. And that's exactly what happened. So the materialism is there, and Shankaracharya's philosophy is the transcendentally accredited agent of much, much Kali Yuga decadence. Then, by the time the British came around and finally decided that they were going to take over the country politically as well as commercially, then, especially in the later days of the British Raj, when there was a lot of unrest and nationalistic sentiment, they decided that Shankaracharya's philosophy could also serve their purposes too. And therefore they were encouraging people to study Shankara's ideals. And they even taught explicitly that Shankaracharya is like the main acharya of Hinduism, whereas in fact, if you look at the number of Vedanta interpretations, Shankaracharya is in a minority position. Most of them are Vaishnavas, clearly. I could go into great detail about this, but to simplify things, the British found his ideas very helpful because he said, for example, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. That means that Brahman is real and this world is false. That destroys any sense of dedication to responsibility in the world. And they liked that. And so they said, look, this person is he's the Acharya of Hinduism. This is what you Hindus believe. You believe that only Brahma is real and this world is false, so that's fine with us. You should pursue your spiritual ideals, and you should leave this world as false. And just let us run your country, and you can take care of your spiritual lives, and everybody is happy. You see? So, in other words, in case you haven't sussed it out yet, I'm going to say that, Shankaracharya's philosophy is largely responsible for the mess that Hinduism is in. Because before Shankaracharya was considered to be the end-all and be-all of Hindu ideals, you had sectarian Hinduism. And I mean sectarian with a capital S. You may be a Shakta, or you may be a Vaishnava, or you may be a Smarta, or whatever you may be, but it was sectarian. This is the point. That diversity is essential, and it's actually something that Vyasadeva encouraged, and it's something that the Puranas all encourage. And this Mayavad philosophy, which is reincarnated in the last century as this Yatamat Tatopad idea, that all paths lead to Rome, so to speak, it's destroyed so much of the character of Hinduism. That's one way to answer the question. It's a big topic. We'd be here all night. Is that satisfactory? Okay. Anything else? Yes.
You said that we can hardly or we can barely understand ourselves. So to help ourselves rather than helping others. Jan samarthak kare or
Yes.
So if we walk on the path to help ourselves and understand ourselves so that we are in a position to help others, how can we help others? Because you said that even if you try to, Krishna says that your karam is again controlled by me. Then if everything is controlled by Krishna, then nothing is in our power, and even if we get to that stage, we can't do anything unless it's his will or something along those lines, right?
Yes, that's right.
So how can we ever be in that position to help others?
That is exactly how we'll be in that position.
Sorry?
That is exactly how we'll be in that position. When we surrender our will to Krishna, Krishna's will can never be frustrated. So if we're only doing Krishna's bidding, then whatever we set out for will be successful, because Krishna is not frustrated. Yatra yogeshwaro Krishno, yatra partho dharandhara, tatra shriyar vijayo bhutir dhruva niti matimama. Krishna says, wherever there's Krishna, wherever there's Arjuna, there's going to be victory, there's going to be morality, there's going to be beauty, there's going to be all this opulence, you see. We are getting in the way of Krishna's plan. This is the problem. We have our own plan. That is the problem. As long as we're trying to chase our own dreams, and as long as we're trying to put ourselves on the throne, then we're going to be frustrated and we won't be able to do anything for anyone else, because in fact we're paupers. We don't have anything to give others. But if we instead agree to become an agent of Krishna's mercy, a conduit for his own will in this world, then there's nothing that can frustrate us. How in the world is it that Srila Prabhupada was as successful as he was, when he had everything working against him? It's not that he had no facility, he had anti-facility. His godbrothers didn't want to help him, the Indians didn't want to listen to him, his own family was not so favorable, he had no money, he had his manuscript stolen for Bhagavad-Gita. When he came to this country, he had to come on a steamship. He suffered 2 heart attacks on the way. He ended up in the Bowery tripping over the bums who had passed out from their alcoholism. How do you deal with that sort of circumstance? Unless Krishna's on your side, and Krishna was on his side because he was on Krishna's side. This is the point. So, you're sitting here as a result of his endeavor, and you're sitting here as a result of the proof of what I'm saying. That when we, well, here's how Krishna puts it himself in Bhagavad-Gita. Mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atha chetvam ahankarat nashrosyasi vinakshyasi. What does it mean? If you become conscious of me, then you will pass over all obstacles by my grace. But if you act out of false ego and don't listen to what I'm saying, then you're going to be finished. This is our state. All we have to do is get out of the way. And we're never going to be anything significant independently of Krishna. Because we're tiny fools. We have only to look in the mirror for proof of that. Every one of us has been born here. The intelligent people don't make that mistake. They stay in the spiritual world. But if we surrender to Krishna, if we are recalcitrant enough to humbly submit to his will, then his will is never going to be frustrated. And then everything can be done very nicely. Is that satisfying your question, or have I misunderstood?
To some extent, because I can understand that we need to be submissive, and by submitting ourselves, it opens the pathway and opens the door. But once we do that, how do we, I think the part which is unclear is, how do we then help others in serving others? That is something which is still unclear.
Jare tekhe tare kaha Krishna Upadesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the second installment of the same instruction. That how you do this parupakar, whoever you see, you tell him about Krishna. Now, I don't recommend that you walk into your boss's office tomorrow morning and just, show him, quote Bhagavad-Gita from him, and maybe show him this picture and explain reincarnation and all these sort of. That may not work. You have to use your intelligence, and Krishna will give that intelligence. But the point is that whoever you see, whatever human interaction you have in this world, you have to be very introspective about it and understand. And am I being degraded more than this person is being elevated as a result of our interaction? Well, how can I engage this person in spiritual life such that this person is elevated? This we can do. And there's a very good secret weapon that we have, and it's called prasadam. I used to work in the University of Washington, and I used to go to these team meetings just like all of you do every week. And, somebody has to bring refreshments every week, so I would bring prasadam. And you may not see it very soon. It may take many years, but it will have its effect. Make no mistake about it. I've seen it too many times. You want to hear some practical example of this?
Sure.
Around 1981, Tamal Krishna Goswami inherited an empty temple in Dallas, Texas. And he understood, based on something that Prabhupada told him in 1977. Prabhupada told him in Manhattan at that time, when they were touring the Manhattan Hare Krishna temple and restaurant, Prabhupada said, from now on, don't open any more temples. Just open restaurants and reading rooms. He wanted reading rooms, like these Christian Science Monitor you've seen. Prabhupada wanted something like that. So Tamal Krishna Goswami was thinking about this, because that's how he was. And when he finally got the opportunity, he put a big restaurant in the middle of the temple. You walk in the front door. If you turn left, you go in the restaurant. If you turn right, you go in the temple. He made it almost impossible to separate the two, because he knew this is the only way to get Americans, because Americans eat. Everybody else also eats. So prasadam is our secret weapon. He did it very intelligently. He made it first class. He did a big media campaign. He cultivated certain high people in city government and like that. And the restaurant was a success from the very start. And to this day, 40 years later, it remains, consistently voted the #1 vegetarian restaurant in the country, believe it or not. Now, I used to have some doubt about this. I saw in the beginning, there are people, they come in, they don't turn right, they turn left only. They sit down, they eat, they pay, they leave. They don't ask questions, they don't even look in the gift shop, they don't take any books, they're not interested. They just want to eat, and they pay, and they leave. And year after year after year after year, I would see the same people coming every day and doing the same thing, regular patrons. I said, okay, Yeah, we say that, Mahaprasada Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Solpa Punyavatam Rajan Visasone Vijayate. But they're going to get their punya is going to, punya prabhava, it will, later on it will fructify. So many years, decade, 2 decades, I saw the same people are coming, they're not inquiring, they don't seem to be going anywhere. Around 2009 I was in Dallas and I saw some of the same people coming in. Same thing that I've been seeing for 20 years, same people. This time I saw one of them was sitting in the temple kind of absorbing the vibes the way they do. You see them sometimes. Okay, so, maybe something's happening, I don't know. Still, I wasn't real encouraged. Then I came a couple of years later and I walked in and I was shocked when I came into the temple. I saw that the pujari was doing the arati was one of those customers from the restaurant. Something snapped after 25, 30 years. He finally got it. He started to chant Hare Krishna. He was purified already from so much prasadam. He became a devotee somehow, or in the couple of 3 years since I was there, he got initiated. Look at him now, he's doing. Then I went downstairs, and the person working in the treasury was another one of those customers. And the same evening, when I went out the front door, they were assembling a Harinam Sankirtan party, and 3 or 4 of the same people from the long-time customers, they were going out on Harinam Sankirtana. All at once, they all fructified. How did it happen? I don't know. But the point is that this happens. Around 2006, I went and took care of my elderly mother until she died. And around a year before she left, she told me, you know what? I just realized that because I was cooking for her every day when I was serving her, I was living with her and cooking for her, taking menial service. So she told me, you know what? I just realized that now I'm more attached to everything that you're cooking for me than I was ever to anything that I ever used to eat anymore. I don't want to eat that anymore. I only want this from now on. Because she's getting prasadam every day. And not fancy anything. I don't know how to cook that much. I was making khichdi only. But because it was prasadam, she was getting purified. That means that the subtle body, shuddha ho gai. And that means that she'll take her next birth wherever there's prasadam available because that's her desire. And when you take prasadam, you cannot take a lower birth. I'm sure she went up somewhere. You see? It works. Prasadam alone works. But if you can do more than that. You have to pray to Krishna, you have to follow the process so that you understand the process. Kyonki, if you don't apply these teachings, then you will never understand how they work. How do we know this? Chapter 15, anybody know? Yatanto yoganaschainam pashyanti atmanyavastitam. Yatanto prakatatmano nainam pashyanti chetasaha. Those who are empty-headed doing this thing, they don't understand. But somebody who's consciously following this process, conscientiously following this process, these people, they will see. How is another person situated? How do we change from one body to another? How do we become purified? What does it mean? They can see all this clearly. Those who are not following these teachings, not applying these teachings, they cannot understand it even if they try to. So all you have to do is apply the teachings sincerely, follow them, get the realization, and then sincerely pray to help others, and Krishna will help you. And he will, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Yes. Parason, we'll discuss this principle. Is that okay? All right. Okay. All right. Anything else? It's getting late, so then we can end now. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.